pew. All right, sweet. Now the recording started. I can't minimize this. Oh, I want to share my screen. That's why. Desktop 1. Very cool. Okay. So back to where we just were. So I have the website up. Again, these schedules are tentative. They're not, meant to be taken. Let me do one thing, put my chat over here. Sweet. Okay, so now everything's working for me. So tentative schedules, the last, probably like the last week, we probably won't be taking the whole time for that, but there'll be like a review week. And just as a reminder, I just wanted to tell you guys that I created an assignment for this. For this week, I made it due February 16th, but I'm pretty lax with the due date, so don't go, oh no, don't worry about it too much. But I do want to do by February 16th. Some people have turned it in, which is really good, so thank you. But make sure to do it. Again, it's not a very heavy assignment, so I think that's why I'm not really so crazy about. I gotta open it up like this. Okay, so we downloaded it, and I'm gonna pull it over to here. So here we have our homework module 1, and it's just a simple Python file. You create a Python file just like how we've been doing in idle, but you're going to be using your comments to answer these questions. 6 questions, they're all in your module, so or you could just Google them as well. Either way, the answer, the fact that you would get the answer is important to me. Get that there. And then just to write a little bit of code right here that does this. Python is cool. Python is not a type of snake, it's a programming language. Just do a print statement for that. Should be pretty simple for what we've been doing, because now we're kind of getting to module 3. So hopefully you know how to do this. And these first 5 questions are pretty basic in a way. They're not, again, they're in your module. So get rid of that. So that's due on the 2nd, or the 16th. And then I want you guys to do your module 1 test. Make sure to do that. I know a good amount of you guys have done it, but if you haven't, feel free to go ahead and do it. It's a little bit tedious because it's not like, it's a lot of background information of Python, but it's not really necessary for, it is necessary that you take the module 1 test and pass it. But in terms of coding, these ones are where we start getting into the actual code. But module 1 test is still important, so I want you guys to go ahead and do that. But what we'll do here is that you see I have a little green check because I took the module 2 test. But what we'll do is I'm going to go over it with you. I'll give you guys some answers, but hopefully you guys are going to be the one giving me those answers. Actually, that's actually the goal. I'm not going to give any answers. So we're going to proceed. And again, this is your exam. And again, these tests you can take a million times over, so it's not going to be bad if I show it to you right now. So we do have a timer, but I doubt we'll take up that full 30 minutes. So the meaning of a keyword parameter is determined by, does anyone have any idea what this may be? Put it in chat or hop on the mic. Give me an answer.
Does it mean its value?
It would be the value and the argument name. So like x equals 0. Good job.
Okay.
But exactly the point. And this one, we have, what is the output of the following snippet if the user enters 2 lines containing 2 and 4 respectively? And again, I would highly suggest, if you guys are taking this exam and you don't remember what you're doing, just write it out. You can just write it out in your idle code, and your idle code will do it for you. And just to actually prove that point, let me go and create can I create a new one? I don't want to. Can I just create a new one? So this is our old one that we created. Okay, cool. I didn't want that one. I wanted the shell. Okay, let's just run this module. Okay, we'll control exit. We'll just get some error out. Okay, sweet. So here, we don't need this hello world Python. We'll come back to that again. So in here, we'll say, in this case, we have our 2 and 4 respectively. So we can say x equals 2, y equals 4. That's how it is, like, because of the 2 and 4 respectively. X equals input, y equals input. And then so we're just going to print 2. Oh, no, I got x plus y. And I'm assuming most of you guys could figure that one out. It's going to be 6. Do you guys think this is the right answer, what I just got, or no? Anyone have any problems with this? I can't highlight. That's a bummer. There's something I may have missed. 2 plus 4 does equal 6, so 6 is the answer. Does anyone have any other answer? Oh, let's do it here.
Oh wait, never mind.
Oh, you might be right if you want to take a crack at it.
4 divided by 2?
A little bit different than what I was thinking, but good idea. I see where you're trying to go with this. So I'm going to do x equals input and y equals input. And then I'm going to put in 4. So now I have my x and y equals 2 and 4. If I say print x plus y, I got 24. Can anyone tell me why I just got 24? 2 plus 4 doesn't equal 24. How did this happen? And it must be right because we just typed it out in the code. This is how Python just read it.
Because it just put like the two numbers next to each other.
Exactly, right? But the reason why, does anyone have any idea why that reason may be? All right, I can figure out, I'll show it to you. So the reason why is because we said input. Anytime you do an input, it's going to be read in as a string. So if I wanted to actually add the numbers, x equals int of input. And let's put in, oops, oops, I made such a mistake. It's x equals int input, and then I forgot one more parentheses. And now I put into y equals int input, put in 4, and print x plus y equals 6. So the reason why we got 24 is because this brings me back a string. So all it did was it made me 2 and it didn't add the 4, it just took the sentence and added together. So like in this sense, let's do a equals input, and my input is going to be hello, and b equals input, and we're going to put in world, and then put c equals input, let's say, I don't know, 1,000. So when I do print a plus b, it's not going to add up those two numbers. It's just going to say hello world. It's going to add those two strings and make them into one. And then if I do that with this, it's going to also take that and make it hello world 1,000. Now, if I wanted to do something like this, where we said x equals int input, if I said print a plus b, and now let's say we wanted to add that x, which is an integer we said, it's going to fail because you can't make an integer to str, standing for string. So hopefully everyone got that. So in this case, because it didn't have an int, we didn't make the value an int, that input automatically brings everything in as a string. So you can't add strings unless we make it an integer. Then we have, what is the following output if the user enters 2 lines? I'm going to let you guys figure that answer out. It's actually really good timing, actually. Usually they do it in random orders, but this is perfect. Int input,
That's
input
6.
6, exactly, right? Kind of exactly what we just did. 6. And then here, zyx equals 1, x comma y comma z equals sep equals star. Oh, and then Brandon, I guess I didn't even see the chat. So Brandon and Michael, exactly what you guys gave me the chat. You guys were exactly correct on what you guys were saying for input and the string. So I should look over more. I'm going to put that over here now. Okay. So for this one, anyone have an idea?
Would it be choice number 3?
Yep, because it's going to be 1, comma, separator, star, 1, step. Perfect. Perfect. You guys are doing really good. Oh, this one's a fun one. Okay. So Python can also do things like to the power of 8 in a different way than we thought before. If you guys did your module, it'll tell you that you could do this. Some of these things I don't cover in class because they're not really like, I don't know. They are useful for certain areas, but very specific uses. So we haven't really used it much. But in this case, can anyone tell me what this one might be? This one's kind of tricky. I'll give you guys, do I give it to you? Yeah. I'll give it to you. So the way Python will do it, so value 20.12, right? So which one of these have 20.12? It's not this one. This has 20.12. 20.12 has that 0.12, 20.12. So we can rule out A. So that's done. Then we can say raised to the power of 8 times 10 to the power of 8. So we're not doing, so this could work, but we said, how does exponentiation work? Can anyone tell me that one in chat or Mike?
You do the 2 stars.
2 stars, exactly. So this is bad because this isn't even an operation. So we take this one out. So then now we're stuck with 20.12 e to the 8.0 and 20.12 to the e to the 8. So in this case, because it just says to the power of 8, we're not putting it as a float or a decimal number. Keyword float is decimal. It would be that. So sweet. See how we just kind of use a little bit of power of, what is it called? I forgot that term when you get rid of things when you're taking an exam. It's been a while since I've taken those type of exams. Man, I'm trying to think what that word is. I'll get back to it. So this one, this one's a fun one. So what is the output of the following snippet if the user enters 2 lines containing 3 and 6 respectively? X equals input, Y equals input, print X times Y. And in this case, we know X is a string because we've already stated that when we do input, it's going to just take in a string. Y is going to actually bring an integer. So now we have 3 as a string and 6 as a number. Does anyone want to take a crack at what this might be in the terms of guessing? Will be 18.
36.
What was that?
Would it be 36?
36. Oh, I see what you're thinking. So that would be that would be correct if this was a plus Y and X was an integer, or my bad, and Y was a string. So in this case, that wouldn't work because that would be, I see that's a good guess though, because yeah, 3 is going to be an integer. And like how we showed up here in the code, when I took A plus B plus X and X was, and let's say, where did I do that X? Right here, int input. When I do that and used it with the 2 strings, it crashed the code. So we know that's not going to work. So we have X times Y. So we just got rid of 36. We have 18, but
It's 18.
18 could be possible. 3 times 6 is 18. But X is a string. Because X is a string, can we do, let's do print. Actually, we can do it like this. 3, right? 3 is a string. So we can do that times 6. Oh wait, this will give you your answer. Well, I guess I'm fine with giving your answer. This is how we test things out. And Michael said the first option because it repeats the string 6 times, right? And here we go, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And the reason why is we take that string 3. I can't highlight, I always forget that. We take that string 3 and we multiply it 6 times. So we get 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 6 times. It's a nifty thing that Python does, is that you can multiply things out and it will repeat that. So if I said that print A, hello, if I said print A times 5, I'm going to write out hello 5 times. Nifty stuff that we have. So we'll do that. What is the output?
I have
Okay.
a question, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if it's like integer or input, you don't have to put like the integer if it's a string?
So are you saying, are you thinking like when I do X equals input like this, if I say 5, I don't need to make an integer?
Yeah,
So if I said,
for it to be a string.
yeah, exactly. When I
Okay.
say 5, this will be a string. It won't be an integer. So we
Okay.
can't do math on it. We can only
Okay,
use
I
it as
was
a
just
word.
confused about that, yeah.
No, that's a great
Yeah.
question. I honestly, yeah, It's a really confusing thing in Python with this input and int. So when we use this int, it means we're making the input that we give them and we're forcing it to be an integer. If I try doing that, let's actually try this. If I said x equals int input and try not using an integer. So let's say I used hello, right? So I'm going to take this input, which is going to return a string, and then I'm going to make this hello into an integer number. Python's going to say hello isn't a number. You can't do that. So it crashes there. But when we get something that is like a number 5, we'll make it into the number. We'll make it into a number where we can do math. But great question. Here, I assume everyone got this question wrong. Well, if you didn't, actually, you're a genius. I have taken this quiz a couple of times and I have failed this question, I don't know how many times. And you're thinking you might be thinking to yourself, Kayvon, are you crazy? How'd you mess this question up a million times? But I promise you, there's a reasoning to my madness. What does anyone want to give me an answer here? Actually, there's actually another reason why you could get this wrong. Now that I think about it, actually, let me think. We can try this out. But can anyone tell me? Okay, so Dakfiner is 17. Michael says 17. Dakfiner is pretty much saying you put the question mark. Like, it should be 17, right? So if I say y equals 2 times 3 plus 3 times, and there's a dot at the end of it. So I'll put that. Print y. So it'll be 17.0, right? So it wouldn't be 17, but if there was no dot here, it would be just 17. But because we've introduced that dot, there is a 17.0. But that's the thing is we're still completely wrong. Can anyone have any idea of why we're wrong here? Why the answer isn't 17.0?
Would typing that cause an error?
Which one? Like,
Well, it's just one of the answers. So
oh, so it would cause an error. You are correct. That is the correct answer. But does anyone know why it's an error? This one. Every time I took this quiz, I would get 19 out of 20, and I'd be like, how did I get 19 out of 20? It's a really silly one.
Is it because the 5 is not a float, or would
No,
that be?
that worked, right? Because we just said print y. We just did it, and we got 17.0. We got the answer from Cadence and Dakfiner, which is, and this took me forever to get this. Y is capitalized, which is so silly. And it errors out because y is lowercase here, but we ask them to print capital Y. So to everyone who tried their best, just know that it was it was always a trick question, which was very mean because it got me for a long time.
I
And
didn't
then
even realize it was capitalized.
I didn't realize it either, and I was like when I found out, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And here the nice thing is when you actually type it out, it says, do you mean lowercase y? So if you were to do this in programming, you wouldn't have this problem because your code would be like, hey, you uppercase it, you want to do this instead. So case error. So in this case, I'm gonna let you guys do the rest. I'll figure out the look at this one. You guys should know this one will be kind of interesting for you guys to do. Which of the following variable names are illegal? I'll kind of give you guys this keyword, is that when we use the word true like we did in the last class, we had to only use capital T and true. You can use these ones. And then there's an operator today that we'll talk about called and as well. So that's that true and. Those are both illegal. You can't name variable names because they have a special meaning in our computer code. It's like that true, when we have our flag or Boolean flag that we talked about last class, true meant like it was a special thing. I think if I actually pull up my empty file, wherever that may be, actually I can do it here. So if I say print true, it comes up in orange, right? But if I did it in lowercase, it doesn't come in orange. That orange, I guess, is just a little bit of a signifier that it won't be like orange for everyone or in every case. But in here, I just want to show you that the computer will read this as a keyword, but it won't read this as a keyword or this. But and it does read as a keyword. So that's why those are illegal. You can't change the value that the computer made. This one, this is double integer, which will be integer division, which means we're going to only get integer numbers. So in this case, we're going to have x equals 2, y equals 4. Can anyone tell me what 2 integer division 4 is going to be equal to? What's two integer division? So this double slash means integer. It would like when I do a print, well, I'll show you this. Print 5 divided by 2, we're going to get 2.5. If I said print, I'll give an answer for another question on this. Print 1 divided by 1, it's going to give 1.0. Print 10 divided by 5, 2.0. It's always going to give me back a float. But if I do print 10, 5, it gives me back 2. If I say print 5 double division 2 or integer division 2, it gives me 2. So it took this and cut off what's after the decimal. So can anyone using that hint tell me what 2 integer division 4 is going to equal? When I push enter, what do you guys think it's going to say? Any takers? Can anyone tell me what 2 divided by 4 would say? Okay, we got 0.5. Okay, so there you go, Brandon, exactly. Where you take that earlier answer Jack Finnear gave us, which is 0.5, get rid of that 0.5 and make it 0. And that's all we were going to do, 0. So now when I say y equals 4, because 4 is y still, 4, and then we're reassigning this thing to 0. So we now know our x is now 0 here. And now we're going to say 4 double division 0. What do you guys think the answer is going to be now? And you undefined, perfect. I was about to say you can look at all these answers right here and say which one of these does 4 divided by 0 equal? And it's going to have an error because you can't divide by 0. It's a cool idea in math. If anyone ever does get into that, dividing by 0 is undefined behavior. It isn't like, I know that, but there is a possibility of like, there's definitely a lot of mathematical equations. If you ever want to go into that field, it's a little funny area of dividing by 0, but our computer can't decide what dividing by 0 means. It won't do that cool proofing stuff. So all it's going to say is, I can't do it. Don't give me 4 divided by 0. Don't divide anything by 0 for me. So next, we're going to have this similar stuff, but no double division. I'll let you guys figure that one out yourselves. Left sign binding, same exact thing. It goes in order. So 1 divided by 2, double divided, that's going to equal 0, as we just said, times 3. And we're going to get probably 0. Print function can output values of, what do you guys think this answer is going to be? This is a good one to go over. Anyone want to take a crack at what the print can do? When we did our other print statements, we had like commas, we had like X, Y, Z. I can do print X, Y, see 5 and 17, 0. I can say print, nothing happens. I can print X, 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 X as many times as I want. Does anyone have an idea what the answer should be now that I just kind of gave you that? And arguments are what goes inside this parentheses of this print function. So can anyone tell me what the arguments are going to be?
Would it be any number of arguments including 0?
Exactly, right? Because we can just do it without the print, with nothing inside of it. That'd be 0 arguments there. This one would have, I think, 8 arguments I put in. I don't know, I didn't write it. This one has 2 arguments. So you can use print with as many number of arguments, including 0. Then this one divided by 1, I did that earlier, so I feel like you should have known that one. This one will be a good kind of fun one to do, kind of this PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses, exponentiation, multiplication, division, add, and subtract. OO, we talked about this last class. Can anyone tell me what OO means? Yeah, octal. I was about to say, good job, Brandon. The O would probably mean octal. And then if I did something with the X, that actually means hexadecimal, like we did last class. This new line, or I kind of just gave you the answer by saying new line, but this means new line when you say \n. So forces the print function to break the output line. New line, break the output line, kind of similar, kind of gave that answer away. This one, kind of a fun one. I'll let you do this one. Again, this percent one is just the remainder. So if I have 11 and 4, 11% 4 is going to equal 3 because 11 divided by 4 is 2, and the remainder of that will be 3. So x would equal 3, and then I'll let you guys figure out this one. And then 20, which of these following statements are true? And this one should be pretty simple to do. I'll say this, does addition precede multiplication? I'm pretty certain we all know that probably is not the case. PEMDAS, the result of the operator is always an integer value. Well, we kind of showed here that we get 2.0, which is a float value. So if we're not getting these two answers, I hope you guys know which one's the other two answers. I don't know what it may be. And then I'm going to submit, and I have some incompletes, but we should have gotten them all correct for the ones that we did. Correct. The incorrects are the ones we just skipped. Yep, okay, sweet. So we did everything and we're done with that. Sweet, okay, so we went over that. So that I hope you guys do module 2 tests. Make sure to go over module 2 again if you haven't finished it. So I hope that was a good kind of review of it. I do want to get a little bit into this module 3. I know this is week 4 to week 7 and it's week 3, but the idea was that week 3 you take to finish up module 2 tests, and then we kind of go into module 3 now. But I do want to talk about this stuff because we have some cool stuff that we can do in this class with as we go on further and further. There's so many cool ideas. And again, do you guys have any questions about what I just did, about any question from previous? I should have opened up the board for that earlier. If anyone has any questions, now is your chance. I'll give it a couple seconds. If anything confused you at all, feel free to do it and I'll bring it back up. If you took the exam, that test, and had any questions, feel free to ask and say which one was it, and then I can go and work with that with you guys. But I think I went over all the hard ones. All right, and feel free to always talk over me or say something. That's the best way to interrupt me. All right, so I think we'll just go on to module 3. So module 3, as usual, go through module 3, go and do this these module exercises, I guess is a good way of putting it. It's a longer one. It's definitely longer. So just as a reminder, you have a while to do it, but make sure to do it block by block. It goes from, beginning to hard, I wouldn't say hard, but it goes from beginning to more advanced topics pretty fast. So keep on plugging away at this. I want you guys to, I guess it's funny, as a student right now and as a former student, I would have probably waited till week 6 and 7, but it's always, as I've learned in my older age, well, I'm only 22, but as I've gotten older, it's important to start early and pace yourself, because sometimes when you start getting assignments that get harder and harder, it gets harder to finish those assignments on time. I'm getting assignments where I start on the first day and keep working on it, and I still will barely finish at the end, even though I'm pacing myself really well. So just as a reminder, if you pace yourself really well, less problems. So in this case, what we'll talk about now is, what do I want to go over? We went over assignment 1. And then also, I guess as a reminder, I just want to say this while everyone's here, for doing those assignment 1s, I'm going to give you guys assignments throughout the semester. They're not designed to be hard or too challenging, but they're just a way for me to know that you are doing the work and you show that you can do the work. Because I want you guys to do the work well, so that because there is a certification exam at the end of the semester, and we could give you guys a free voucher to take that exam, that certification exam for Python programming. So I want to make sure when you take that exam, I know that I'm confident that you will do good on it if I know that you're doing good on like the assignments I give you. But again, in terms of the exam, my biggest goal is that I want you guys to have a good foundation of computer science. The certification exam is more of like kind of like a sideline piece. It's not the most important thing in the world. What's more important is that you do know how to code. But getting back to the topic, we are going to go over if statements or flowchart or conditional statements, kind of ideas where what happens if I want a question to ask. So what I'm going to do is that I have my handy dandy tablet up, and I am going to share my screen here, I believe. Oh, I have to go and I have to allow myself to screen share. Share screen, and then I'm going to allow myself. No, I have to stop the share. All right, welcome back to me. So screen, start broadcast, and then I can write on this. Oh, that's my Gmail. Don't want to go there. So here, what we have is a flowchart. And in this flowchart, we have, oh, I can actually start using this. And then you guys can all see my, my chat keeps disappearing from me. That's really a bummer. Where's my chat at? Right, there it is. You guys can all see my screen, right? Just to make sure. You guys can see the test your knowledge. Give me a yeah. Oh, yep. You can hear it. You see it?
Yeah, we see it.
Perfect,
Or at least I
perfect.
do.
That's good. I think if you see it, then everyone should. And I have it on my screen as well. So here we have this flow chart, and I know most of you guys know flow charts. It's kind of like a fun game in this and what we're about to do, but also because I know there's some couple of memes where they would have these flow charts hanging around. So hopefully you guys have seen it a decent amount of time. So in here, this is kind of how programming will work. This is kind of like how your brain will function as a programmer. So in this case, we're creating, let's say, a programmer that creates an amount of points that will talk about their cardiovascular disease risk assessment. So this is a pretty cool code. Would be making this code into, if you give me information about yourself, I'll calculate your risk of cardiovascular disease. So in here, we're just going to ask, for the first one, we're going to say a 33-year-old non-smoker with normal blood pressure who eats a low-fat diet. So in here, we're going to start from here. So we're going to go there, and then we're going to say, is the age of this person 30? Well, the person's 33 years old. Are they less than 20 years old? Well, no, 33 isn't less than 20. All right, so no, false. So think of it in coding. Think of this as false. All right, so 33 is not less than 20 is going to be false. So no equals false, yes equals true. So then we're going to have age is less than 30. Is 33 less than 30? 33, no, false again. So it's going to be no. So now we're going to say add 3 points, plus 3. So your risk of cardiovascular disease goes up as you get older, or once you turn 30, I guess after 30, you're plus 3 points. So then we go there, then we're going to go down here. Hopefully this is a good design. They're a non-smoker. So because they're a non-smoker, that means it's going to be false. So no. So do they smoke? Nope, false. Then they go down to here. They have normal blood pressure. So that will be true. Do they have high blood pressure? Well, see, okay, they made a mistake when they created this. I'm just noticing now. It should be normal blood pressure. Oh, actually, no, I take that back. I take that back. They did it right. I don't even know why. Why would I be correct in this case? I'm never correct. So do they have high blood pressure? No, false, because they have normal blood pressure. So false. No. So it doesn't correlate to good or bad, false or true. It just means you ask a question. Is the answer false? No. Or is it true? Yes. So here Then we go down here. Do they have a high fat diet? Nope, they have a low fat diet. Then we go down here to the end, and to calculate our points, can anyone tell me what their final score would be?
3.
3, right? Exactly, just 3, because we calculated all that stuff. Let me go and erase these things right here. Now we'll do the next person. Let's do this one. So here we have a 50-year-old non-smoker. So is 50 less than 20? False. Oops, that's a horrible F. False. So we're gonna go back here, go down. No. Are they aged less than 30? 50 less than 30? False again, right? No. So they get +3. We could get rid of this +3. It's kind of hard to write +3 in this weird thingy. So we'll put +3 right here. Then they go down to here, they follow this flow chart. Do they have, are they a smoker? Non-smoker, so false again. Do they have high blood pressure? Yes, yes they do. This is true in this case. So we go down here, they get a +2. Then they have a high fat diet. He does have a high fat diet, so it's true again. +1. And then end. So what's the score going to be for this guy, a 50-year-old non-smoker?
6.
6, I believe you're right. +3, +2, +1 will be 6 points. And then I'll do this next one with you because I'm out of colors. And then I'll let you guys do 4, 5, and 6 on your own because this is kind of a fun one. But we'll go back into the coding of this. So here we have a 19-year-old non-smoker. So are they less than 20? So a 19 less than 20? That's true, right? So the number 19 is less than 20. So we go down here, +1 point. Then they go all the way down here. They skip this whole entire part about being less than 30 because we already know they're less than 20. So no point in asking if you're less than 30 years old. Then we're gonna go down here. Is this person a non-smoker? Non-smoker again. So yep, smoker, false. So we go down here. And then we're gonna say this person has high blood pressure. So they're gonna go down here. They're gonna get +2. And they go down here. Do they have a high fat diet? They do have a high fat diet. So they go with +1. And then we end the code or the flow chart in this case. What's the score of this person?
4.
4. Exactly.
Wait, it says +1 up there. Wouldn't it be 5?
Well, this one is, I may have just did really bad writing, but this one's +2 and this last one's +1. So that's 3 and then 4. So 1.
The last one's +1. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I figured my writing was bad. So that one's 4. So this one will be 1. Let me put 1 point here. 1 point for this part. Yeah, because there are some areas like 3 points where they had to write it over and like age is less than 20 because it was bad writing. And then just wondering, does anyone have any answers for the last 3? If anyone has done it, feel free to say it now and I can put it in here. If not, I'll let you guys do it yourself. I think I know the answers as well. All right, I think I'll let you guys do this one though. So I'll put in here. Let me actually, oops, I don't want that. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we'll use this color. I like my colors. I'm gonna say, try yourself. Sweet. And then I believe that is all I had to do with this flow chart. Oh, you got one for 8. Okay, you are correct. This one is 8. I know I did that. No, you're good. So it's 8. And then for these 5 and 6, I'll let you guys do all for your own homework. But this one is 8. Try and do this yourself though. Do the drawings out. That's the whole point of it. Is I want you to draw out, not like get the answer. Well, get the answer, but do it by drawing it out and showing your thinking down the path. But I'll stop my share right there. I'll come back to here. And I can turn this off now. Probably killed my battery doing that. Let's go back to sharing our screen. Cool. And then I'll put my chat back up there. And so the next thing I wanted to talk about was if statements, writing that type of code. We could, if you want to, this would be a pretty cool thing, would be making your making a code based off of that cardiovascular test. That'd be a very cool idea. But just to kind of keep up with what we have been doing, I think it'd be cool. I thought it's cool. I thought it is cool if we continue on with this. So in here, we're going to calculate our tax rate. So this is the same code that we worked on since day one, right? So this is kind of the code that we used for creating our dream job, and we calculated the salary of our dream job. Now here, we want to calculate our tax rate. And in a tax rate, you have a lot of different things, right? You have, you can go by age, you can go by your marital status, are you single, are you married, how much money you make, things like that, right? So I'll start it off and I'll say, I'll make this into comments. So calculate our tax rates. If you are making, so right here, we're gonna calculate our salary here, right? So here we're gonna get the salary of our yearly salary, but now we want to calculate said tax rate. So if you are making under $10,000, no taxes, no tax rate at all. You don't get taxed. That's how it is for me. I know sometimes when I make, I think that's the rules. If you make less than 10,000, whatever it may be, but in our fake world of our own government, our dream government, if you're making less than $10,000, no tax rate. So here, if we want to actually calculate our tax or our return, and here, let me just make this key point. I started off by saying if, right? And that's I think all of you guys can agree that if you are making under $10,000, then no tax rate. So here we're going to use the keyword if, and we're going to say if salary, the one that we got here, is less than $10,000, right? Less than $10,000. And you put a colon here to signify that you're going to be working inside this block. The good thing is I don't put this little tab for us, but it's important that you have this tab. Python will crash if you don't have a tab. If I start writing code like this, it will not allow me to write the code inside it. It has to be tabbed when I use something like an if keyword. So if, and it tabs it for me, and then we're going to say print or let's just do this. Let's say net earnings, and we'll put it up here. We'll say net earnings equals 0. We'll define it up top first, and then we'll change it inside here. Equals salary, right? We didn't change any tax rate. So it's going to still equal your salary is your net earnings. Then in order to leave this this if statement, all I do is I just go back a space. So all you have to do is tab to write your code inside this if statement. So if this is true, if salary is less than 10,000, go here and write out what it is. If it's not, we'll come out here. And here's the cool thing is we have an else statement. If it isn't, if it is over less than $10,000, let's just say, we'll do some more math on this, but let's say net earnings equals salary divided by 5, right? Let's say your tax rate is 50%. Really large for it. So in this case, we have an if and an else, and then at the end of it, I want to say print net earnings. And when I run it, let's say run it. Let's calculate our dream job, and I'm going to say your instructor, smiley face. How many hours do you want to work? Let's say 5 hours. 5. What is your hourly pay? $5. I made $125. Now it's going to say, because net earnings equals salary, net earnings, it's going to go into this if statement because this one was true. So salary is 125. If I wanted to write it out again, where let's say I run this code again, well, let's say I put in over your instructor, let's say your rich instructor. And then let's say I work 5 hours, and let's say a huge amount of money. So I just made a lot of money, right? So now I made this large sum of money, but because of that, it went to here. Net earnings equals salary divided by 5. Oh, I divided by 5. Oh, never mind. That's 20% interest rate. So my original 250, whatever this $1 billion now became this. Let me do this with a better example that shows off the actual numbers. Let's do like 20,000. So let's do F. I don't feel like typing that in. F. How many? 25 times 100. So I made 2,500. Oh, that's still under. I am really doing a terrible job of my math. Run module. Let's make this 1,000. So F 5. Hourly pay is 1,000, not 100. So now I make 25,000. And because of that, so as you saw here, I made 2,500. That's less than $10,000. So I returned back my salary, which is going to be 2,500. Here, your dream job is making $25,000. And because we said else, so if salary is less than 1,000 is false, we go to else. It goes into this one. Net earnings equals salary divided by 5, which 25,000 divided by 5 equals $5,000. Your net earnings was $5,000. The government took a lot of money away from us. Does anyone have any questions about that? About this if statement and else statement? If this statement is true, we do this object. Kind of like how we did the points in that flow chart. If we are less than 1,000, we add a point, right? If we are smoking, we add some points. Else we do nothing, or we go do some more stuff. So in this case, let's get rid of this if salary is less than 10,000. Actually, let's keep it for right now. We can keep it. And now let's do this. Let's calculate if we're married, right? If you are single and making, actually, let me just go and copy some of these. I made a list of items we can use. So let's go here. Sweet. So I made a list of, oh, I put this in the wrong area. Let me get rid of that. Okay. If you're single and making under $100,000, your tax rate is 10%. If you're single and making over $100,000, your tax rate is 20%. If you are married and making under $200,000, your tax rate is 10%. If you are married and making over $200,000, your tax rate is 20%. And then also, let's go and make this better. I also want to say something like nicer, like let's say print your net earnings this year is, and then we'll put that, comma, net earnings. Nice. Can anyone give me an if? So in this case, right, we're going to be here. We don't want to be tabbed out. This is where I'm going to also tell it to you, where if what we want to do is we want to keep this going down in a path, right? In our flow chart, everything was connected, if you remember, right? It kind of went down a path. If this is this, then you go here, 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 here. So the way you keep doing that, to keep going down that path, is we use this thing called an else if, or an elif in here. An elif is just pretty much saying, take this and build on it. So, or not build on it. So in this case, when we had else, this was true. If this is true, you go here, net earnings, salary. Else, if this is false, you go here. But let's say salary is greater than 10,000 right here, right? We want to say, we said this is false. We don't want to always go to here. We want to go to here. We want to say, if you're single and making under $100,000, your tax rate is 10%. So the first thing I should ask is this, right? We're asking if you're single and making under $100,000. So the first thing we should be doing is asking print for tax purposes. For tax purposes, are you single? And we'll put in, we'll put like this. Are you single? And we want the answer to come back like this. Y, comma, n. So this is just telling our user this is how we want it. So we'll do that. Oh, and then let me make this an input because we are taking this in input and we're going to assign it to, let's say, let's do it real business like marital status equals input. So if they are single, we say yes. If they're married, they say no. And so in this case, if you are single and making under $100,000, your tax rate is 10%. So in here, let's make our tax rate as well. Tax rate equals 0, right? We have nothing assigned to it. It's always good to assign it earlier. So in this case, can anyone give me an idea of this? How would I check if we're single or making under $100,000? We can do $100,000 first or single first, whichever one you guys want to do. Anyone want to give me an idea? It's going to be exactly like how we did it here, but a different conditional statement. Anyone want to take a crack at it? Anyone? All right. So in here we have elif. This is our else if. So in here, we're going to say, because this if salary is less than 10,000, right? We have this first statement. This is false. If we're making $100,000, let's say we're doing $25,000. We made $25,000 this year. Let's go based off of this. If we made $25,000 this year, $25,000 is not less than 10,000. So we want to go down here. Else if salary is less than 100,000, because we know that the salary is not less than 10,000. Kind of like how we had our age, right? We said, is the age less than 20? No. The next question was, is our age less than 30 in that flow chart? So if our salary is less than $100,000, and here's that part where I talked about and, right? We have this if you're single and making under $100,000. Actually, let's do this. Let's make it. Actually, I'll keep it. And our marital status equals Y. And I just wanted to, I'm going to switch this up a little bit just to make it look prettier. And salary. So in this case, right, we have our marital status. If you are single, is our marital status single? Y. Right? Are you single? Yes or no? Yes, no. If that's yes, that means they're single. And salary is under $100,000, right? Exactly that. See how it's we're kind of writing this in English and then coding it out. That's usually how I like to code, is I like to think of it in English first and then put it into code. Our tax rate equals 0.1. And let's just assign our 0.1, right? So our tax rate is 0.1%. And so here we're going to say net earnings. We're going to say, let's do this. At the end of all these statements, we'll do our final calculation. We'll say net earnings equals salary. And also once one of these, because of this else if, once one of these is true, it's going to do this action and it's going to skip this else if and else action. It won't do it. It only does the one where it works. It's true for. Because if salary is less than 10,000 is false, it doesn't do this. It goes to here. And let's say in our case, it is true. If this is true, we're going to tax rate equals 0.1. And then we leave this whole entire if else block right here. Think of this as a whole block. And then we come to the end, net earnings equals salary times tax rate. And our tax rate here is going to be defined here, 0.1. And so let's give it a run. Let's see what it does. We have to make it to that case where we are because we are doing a sign, checking something, it's equal, right? If you remember that, whenever we're storing the variable, it's equals. Whenever we're checking it, it's equals. So we run the module. Let's calculate our dream job. Instructor, we say 5, and we're doing that same money where we make over. So it's going to be $25,000 we want to make a year. So we make $25,000. Am I single? In this case, let's say we are. Yes. And it's going to say your net earnings is $2,500 this year. Well, that's wrong. Why is that wrong? Can anyone tell me why that's wrong? If my tax earnings 10%, isn't 2,500 too much money to be getting? Or too much, not my bad. Isn't $2,500 too little money? I make 25,000 and I'm only getting taxed 10%. My math is wrong if anyone wants to catch my math. It should be it should be the salary times the tax rate. This is what I'm losing is that 2,500. So I'll say salary minus this. So now when I run it, I'm going to say instructor 1,000. I just made $25,000 for tax purposes. Am I single? Yes. And here I said 22,500, right? So that's how much money I made after the year was over. So in this case, what we'll do is we'll keep on doing these else if statements. So here we'll say else if marital status equal Y and salary is making over $100,000 colon tax rate equals 0.2 because that's what our tax rate is here. Now, can anyone please? I mean, this one I don't think is too bad of a question. Can anyone try this one out? I'm going to give another else if you are married and making under $200,000. Anyone want to give us a crack with me? I can call on someone, which is a possibility. Let's see, who can I call on here? I may have to call on someone. Let's go with Mario. You here with me, Mario? Maybe not. Crystal, are you here with me?
Yes.
Sweet. I'll walk you through it. So, in here, right? How would I check if you're married?
You.
Because here we
I
said,
don't know.
because here we said marital status for tax purposes. Are you single? Yes or no? If they're, I'll put this in a comment. If yet Y equals Y, if Y, that means they're single. They are single. If N, that means they are married. I can't spell. So here we said they're single. So if marital status equals Y, how would I do it for this one? How would I check if they're married? It'll be the exact same structure as this one.
So they would answer either N or Y?
Mm-hmm. So if I said marital status, I just said that if they answered if they gave me an N right here for no, are you single? No, that means they're married, right? So what would I check it to make it if they're married?
What?
So you know when I said marital status equals Y here, I was checking if they're single. If Y means they're single.
Mhm.
So this meant that they were single. If I want to check if they're married, which will be N, what would this value be? If anyone wants to chirp in as well, feel free. I'll give you. So this right here, L if marital status equal N, this means that they're married. And then we can do this part together as well, Crystal. So now I want to say, are they making under $200,000? The salary that they made right here.
No.
they're not, right? But how would we check that? So we have salary. How would I say under $200,000 or less than $200,000?
With the less than symbol.
Right? And then here we'll put $200,000. So in this case, our else if statement, our if is going to be if you are married and making under $200,000, what should your tax rate be? I put it right here as well. I'll just give you guys this answer. So tax rate is 10%. Because of that, our tax rate is 0.1. So here, if I wanted to run this one more time, I'm going to run this code. Oops, over here, run. Okay. So calculator dream job, we'll say instructor again. 5, 5, and then we're gonna make a lot of money, right? We're gonna make, let's make it 10,000. So we make 250,000. So now we make $250,000, but now I am, oh wait, that's, poop, I didn't want to do this. Let's get rid of this. I did the wrong math. Run. If I run this module, instructor, instructor, 10, 10, and then that's 100, and then we want to times it by 1,000 to get 100,000. Right? We make $100,000, but we are married. So if I'm married, I'm going to say N. Are you single? No, I'm married. So N. Oh, I mistyped it. I said marital status. Marital status. Okay, then we'll run it again. And I really hate when I make these small errors. Okay, well, let's do that. 10, 10,000, and for not married. So now our net earnings, because we went here, is 0.1. So we lost $1,000. We lost $10,000 because we made $100,000 that year, and I got taxed for 10% of it. All right. Hopefully, I want you guys to take a look at this. Feel free to go on the recording. Take a look at the code again. Try and see, get your, and then also do your module 3. It'll go more into detail of this else if statement. It'll do a good job of it, and it'll have some interactive lessons with it. But other than that, we are done for the day. Try and figure out this last one, this last elif statement. It's gonna be right here, elif. Try and do that one yourself. If you are married and making over $200,000, very similar to this one. It's just under and over is different, and the tax rate's different. And try to understand this stuff. And else, well, what we could do is you could make, if you want, you can even try some other things. If you don't pay your taxes, calculate prison time, whatever you feel like doing. You don't have to do that exact one, but that's the one that came to mind. But other than that, I'll let you guys go enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Valentine's Day. And make sure to try and do that assignment 1 that I gave you guys. And, oh, let me stop my share. Assignment 1 and the rest of the coursework.